Hey, good morning and welcome back to Blue Collar Coder and our Tech a Day series. And today we are going to look at Prettier and ESLint and get those two working nicely together. So the project is the D&D KD tree example that I put up earlier in the week. That is not linted and not prettied. So what we're going to do is integrate ESLint and Prettier into VS Code, get both of those set up and get them configured and playing nicely together with an Airbnb configuration. It's going to be fun. You should stick around and check it out. Okay, so here's the homepage for Prettier, as well as the Prettier plugin for VS Code, as well as the ESLint plugin. So just hold up for a second. Let's talk about what these are. So Prettier is a code formatter, meaning that you give it a style. Say, you want X amount of width on a line, you want tabs or spaces or this number of spaces, whatever, and it gets that to happen for you. And it can do it automatically on save, which is great. And then ESLint is a checker. Basically says, okay, here's my format. I want you to make sure that everything matches this format. And so the two of them together need to be really lockstep in terms of what the configurations are, so you don't kind of have one sort of creating code in a way that the other doesn't like. So, okay. All right, this is the Airbnb configuration. That's what we're going to use for this project. It's pretty standard. And here's a great Medium article on how to get all this going. We're pretty much actually just going to follow this. So the first thing to do is install the Prettier and ESLint plugins in your VS Code if you haven't done that already. So we're going to do that. And after that's done, we're going to follow the configuration options for the Prettier plugin so that it formats on save and it formats using Prettier. And we use the JSON settings for that. Okay, great. So now we've got my D&D Monsters project. So now we're going to start actually working with the project itself. And the first thing to do is install ESLint and Prettier. Now, once that's done, Airbnb's got a lot of plugins and things. So we're going to use this install PureDeps. Oops. So for whatever reason, that's having some issues with yarn lock. So let's get around that. Great. And now we got to go and add in the ESLint plugins for Prettier as well as the config. All right, the next thing to do is to configure the ESLint. So this is basically saying that we want to use the Airbnb rules, and we can go and make any modifications that are project specific in this configuration file as well. And if you're curious, this pb paste command, it basically just takes whatever is in the paste buffer as text and outputs it as text. And so I'm just redirecting it into those files. That way I don't have to create the file and paste it in manually. It's just so much easier. All right, let's go create a lint script command. I'm going to use the -- fix so that it fixes any small issues that we see and give it my source. And I'm going to run it. And there is a few small problems that I left lurking around. All right, so one of the problems is I'm using .js instead of JSX, and I'm just going to go and say that in my project, that's okay with me, and this is how you do that. So you go and add in the name of the rule, and then you just tell it 0, and that says, nope, I'm not going to use that one on this one, thank you. So, okay, another thing I didn't do is install this, so I got to actually run yarn to make sure everything's installed. So as you can see, VS Code is telling me with this red underline that these lines have a problem, and I can mouse over them and see what that problem is. But in this case, I know that without a default value, they have to be required. So I'm just going to go and add those in. And note, if I remove that comma there and I hit save, that's prettier than jumping in and saying, no, we like trailing commas, and it's going to do all that for me. So that's one of the really cool things about using these two in kind of combination like this, is that if you constantly find yourself in the space where, I forget the trailing comma and that's, my project, that's a thing, then Prettier is going to help you out there. So that's really cool. Okay, let's just make sure that all the JS files are covered. And now there's a global that it doesn't like. So let's go and define that global. So now, there's a document around. Don't worry about it. And now we run clean. And that's usually what I do in all of my production projects is I'll have a yarn lint and yarn test as part of the main test. So I'll have a test:lint, and then test:unit, and test:whatever. And then test will basically just go and run all of those one after another. And usually lint first. And I gotta say, like, lint has saved my butt a bunch of times. So if you're not running lint, I definitely think you should. And I think if you get these two working happily together, it makes a really great developer experience. Okay, as always, if you like this video, please like it. If you are into these videos in general, hit that subscribe button and you'll get notifications if you hit the bell. And I'll just see you guys around tomorrow. Something new and cool.